Man, after like a week of drinking sugar-free Red Bull, I accidentally bought regular Red Bull. Tastes so weird now. Used to be the other way around, man. I don't know how life works anymore. Anyways, welcome back, guys. Game number 2 in the best of 5 quarterfinals for the safety net. There's $2,500 up for grabs in this tournament, and just by making it to the round of 8, these guys have already earned $50, but of course there's a lot more as you get closer to first place. So seeing who can get through this group, spawning in the top right corner of the map. He's currently down 1 at the moment and playing on the European server. It's going to be Pro USA Xeno.
The bottom right of the red Protoss is Fnatic's Harstem.
Yeah, XenoCider's actually been playing quite a bit of I don't think the European ladder is going to hurt that much. XenoCider, I believe, is East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. But also, and additionally, if you guys have been watching him stream, he actually streams on the European ladder quite frequently. So this account is Grandmasters, and he's definitely able to play on the server, I think, without too much issue. But, of course, you always want to play on the home field. You always want to make your opponent feel that millisecond of delay and not the other way around.
Aha. Oh. 1 second.
Oh, messing with your camera. Okay, in the meantime, though, again, to quickly remind folks who weren't here for the initial selections, we're doing NA to Europe to NA to Europe, and we're rotating back and forth, again, to try and provide a little bit of fairness. Because it would kind of suck to be like, all right, Harstem, you got to play all your matches on North America. Like, you know, you're from Europe, but, you know, because reasons. So we're trying to make it about as fair as we can for this, guys. And I think I think everybody playing, actually, except for Cats, is East Coast anyways, so I don't think the Europe burn is going to be that bad.
Well, insert, you know, NA needs help anyways joke here.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, my internet's working!
Cool. So after this game, we can get this less ghetto rigged, I guess.
Yeah. Awesome.
Will you be swapping back to your main PC, by the way, then? Or will you be sticking on your laptop?
My main PC.
Okay, so we'll fix the call and stuff afterwards. But fantastic! Fantastic.
Yeah. Woo, cheers all around. It's
Well,
so
let's not celebrate too quick, because, I mean...
I know, right?
I've been here. You're like, oh, my power's back! Oh, for a second.
Yeah. This reminds me of back, like, in my WoW days, where I just, I'd lag out of the dungeon and let everyone die, because I was the healer. For no reason.
You sound like the best kind of healer. You know, actually, yesterday, speaking of the power outage real quick, I got so scared because when it happened, like, I don't know how many people have actually sat through a power. I'm just certain everybody has at some point in their life, but like, there's that moment where the power flickers before it goes off, right? It's kind of like a poltergeist moment, and it's really scary when you've got I've got softbox lighting. For those who don't know what that is, Google it, but really bright lights. So when the power started flickering, it was like, I don't know, really scary in a pitch black room.
I forgot that you were it was like still like 6 a.m. or whatever. So like you were actually in darkness.
Yeah, the sun wasn't out, and even if it was so stormy, I don't think we would have seen it anyways. But very similar openings to the last game out of both players. XenoCider quickly throwing down those 3 Raxes, not just good for production, but also important for making sure oracles don't get too far.
Huh? And Harstem going for the Twilight Council. So yeah, very, very similar.
He puts it off to the side again, and I am curious about this, because it's not like he's hiding this for this big all-in. And Blink is such a common tech path just to have in your background. It's like Stim, right? You're just going to have it anyways. So a little bit interesting to see it segment off to the side like this. I guess it is one of those things where if XenoCider were scanning or something weird, it would drive a lot of paranoia to see that go down.
Yeah, that's usually why I would like it to be seen when I'm playing, right? Because, you know, in my league, everyone freaks out and thinks I'm Link Stalker, all of them. So, but I guess in this high of a league, putting it off to the side would actually be what freaks them out. So, I don't know. Either that or... close. Either that or he's planning on actually warping in a decent amount of stalkers and hoping that a bunker isn't down. So there's going to be like a ton of Marines and you're probably not going to beat them with only 3 gateways of production, or not even.
Oh, I forgot. Harstem likes to take the space on Deadly. It's been a couple days since we've seen him.
It's been forever.
Yeah, I love it too, because like there's so many Protoss plays we see just extend outwards and it just spreads you out further. But this one really keeps you plumped up, and it's with this little stepping ledge here, a lot easier for him to respond to drops than say last game where his Colossus were constantly split in awkward fashion, like good fashion. He didn't ever take game-ending damage from the drops, but there was the Nexus snipes, and it's gonna be a lot easier to respond on Deadwing to 3 bases clumped up like this than say on Expedition Lost.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that little Reaper ledge, Reapers, we haven't had a Reaper opening from XenoCider last game or this game. So, like, say XenoCider wins this game, I wonder if Harstem will actually look at that and take advantage of it. Actually do something cheesy.
Maybe. It's just, I don't know. Reaper openings have kind of fallen off for the most part. There are some folks who used to be like just the dedicated scouters, like Jockshi. I reference them all the time, and even then we don't see them open with Reapers all the time anymore. So, yeah, Harstem could try and take advantage of that through vision, but I mean, Harstem reminds me a lot like, Desro or like the minigun, the macro players rather than the cheesy player. And Harstem can cheese with the best of them. We've seen it, but I think given the right circumstances, he'd rather take a win through macro. Man, the Mothership Core is like Ling's trying to take down these rocks. I'll see you in 5 years when they're finally down. Stalker finally start helping out a little bit, but this Observer will just barely miss the army moving out. I don't know if XenoCider is going to be able to catch this Nexus. It would be nice to get a cancel on it, but there is going to be a Photon Overcharge if it completes. Now, this is the nice thing of Harstem. You guys will notice he does tend to expand, and this is speaking generally here, he does tend to expand faster than most Protoss players, but the advantage to that is the sooner the Nexus completes, the sooner you can Photon Overcharge it.
Now, where is that Colossus? It's just a little bit too late for the push without the medevacs. And it looks like this will have to be canceled. I mean, even with the cannon at this point, you could try and sack it.
I think
or the units on it.
Yeah, this is a Photon Overcharge.
Alright, he's gonna stim out of there. Because, like, either way, it would blink it done. He was going to lose the units. So I was wondering if he was going to try and, like, focus it down.
Yeah, it's interesting for XenoCider actually to have taken this deep of an engagement in the first place. As we see through Resources Lost, that was definitely not cost effective for him. But it's trying to put the pressure on. When you see a third base up this early as well, and you don't have a third CC down, you're kind of like, well, shoot. What can I do? And this is one of those things really that does prompt a Terran player to do something like an SCV pull, to pull the boys and go for an all-in, because you're already behind. Harstem might as well have double fortress plan this as well. You start feeling that struggle, but XenoCider, rather than doing that, does decide to take his own third, and looks like he'll continue with a bit of pressure, maybe.
Yeah, you get the 2 Raxes before the third CC, so. Just, now, if he's not going to SCV pull, which technically he could still do off of 3 bases, then drops will have to be the way that he gets back into this game. The main army, had it not died, would have actually been a very big army at this point, and he would have been able to do the, the micro back on the huge concave on the Colossus, but, as small as it is now, it's basically just drops.
It's going to be really hard to pull off these drops, too. Again, the Colossus can use the stepping ladder, so to speak, to get to the right spot. There's going to be Blink Stalkers to respond. I mean, I just don't see these medevacs doing anything. Good scan. Good scan.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, absolutely would have died. There's no other opportunity for him to, go in there. Expedition Lost, he was right, left, and now it's just one center way or a drop. And, when they're covering the drops, then there's nothing much you can do.
He's got more Marauders than Marines.
Yeah,
really awkward to scan that and have that happen.
The other drops will go down on a natural, and this probably won't be as protected. And in fact, funnily enough, because he didn't take the third that he did, there isn't a gigantic pocket of just blackness that he can unload and stim into the natural.
Very true, very true. What do we have here? A cannon and a Photon Overcharge. So 2 cannons. The Colossus production also spawns here. But it's like a stone's throw away. You just walk over. It's not that problematic. XenoCider is trying to get his macro up behind this, more production, more upgrades and all that, but that armor came down pretty late, so these +2 weapon upgrades start fairly late as well. The nice thing though is that Harstem didn't prioritize upgrades like we see some Protoss do. He prioritized production instead. So for XenoCider, his upgrades, not that big of a problem.
Yeah.
But the production will be. Man, dealing with Colossus is such a pain.
It's Harstem's way of controlling it and actually perfectly splitting up the army. That is quite impressive. It doesn't look impressive unless you cast or see someone like the game before that absolutely it messes it up, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, you really have to see a variety of it to really respect the way one player handles it. I mean, even something minor like just walking them back from the engagement for a second, it might sound like we're describing baby steps that any Bronze League player could pull off, but we watched Korean Grandmasters screw this up as well. You know, even referencing back to the Lila League earlier, folks like Center not be able to raise supply depots. I mean, Harstem does do it pretty darn well.
You're not supposed to mention that. That's a very embarrassing point in Center's life.
Because it happened twice.
Yeah, exactly. Another drop goes into the main / natural.
Interesting to only put a couple Marauders into that, but this drop, oh, that's a big no. All the drops getting absolutely torn apart. Nothing really done for it. I mean, you've got some shields on the Nexus. Not so good.
I like that he's trying all these drops, though.
I do too, but the problem is, like, you can only lose so. Like, his first attack, utterly wasted. His drops, utterly wasted. It might not seem like a big deal, but it's got to be a little bit demoralizing too. And I think we've all been in that spot where, well, okay, this is what he needs. A bit of a win. Where you're just like, nothing I'm doing is working. I can't win this game.
Oh, more victory! Oh.
Moral victory? Is that what you screamed?
Yeah, because we got a moral victory with the War Prism, and I was like, no, I'll keep going with it. And then he lost his own medevac, so
yeah,
kind of bounced out right there. You know, if he lost 3 medevacs in drops, I wouldn't feel so bad if it wasn't for the first attack that you just mentioned that went really, really poorly.
Shoots through the Zealots pretty quickly, but he doesn't really have an army capable of dealing with this. If he could somehow just engage the Stalkers, drive Harstem so far away, but right here's where Harstem knows not to overextend. Falls back and stays with the Colossus.
He just like went around all those Widow Mines?
No, he just charged through. Say hello, he's Protoss.
Oh, Archon! I'm gonna die. Oh, wasn't targeted.
I think it, yeah, I think more Widow Mines actually wouldn't be too bad for XenoCider, but of course that gas priority makes a lot of sense to put those into the Vikings. You're scared of the Colossus. They are the monsters that creep in the dark.
Yeah, maybe going up that ramp was such a great idea from Harstem right there. Go so hot, and I don't think he has any High Templars of Storm, so.
Yo, Harstem actually only just started his weapon upgrades. Wow. As you can see, it doesn't seem to help that Terran has +2 armor, but balance complaints. This fight should go well for XenoCider. The Stalker count's so low that the Vikings will eradicate the Colossus, but man, those Zealots doing work on the ground. That charge is just shredding everybody to bits. Lands the Vikings before the last Colossus is taken out. That's when you know it's getting desperate.
I don't think he realized that last one didn't die. He was just attacking the gas guys. He's kind of useless. But you know, the Sim City might work against Ultralisk, but it did actually not work against the Chargers and Archons. He was stuck in a hard place, couldn't really micro back. When he microed back, he just put himself into a tighter ball.
Charge lots are a son of a gun.
It wasn't so bad with the charge lots, especially the Archons, though. They're just like, psh.
Yeah, you know, unlike earlier, Storm's almost complete now too, so if this keeps up long enough, Harstem will eventually have those Storms to really just melt this. But I think for XenoCider, the problem is like a lot of his very important tech is here. Oh, apparently I'm not on busy. Awkward. So a couple of Raxes, the Ghost Academy. How do I change that while we're in game?
It's in your settings.
Busy.
Oh, put it on busy. Yes, you can just.
Yeah, I know you're putting your settings, but I didn't want to open up the big menu while the game's still going. So yeah, cutting back with what he can. I mean, XenoCider probably knows this is dire straits. Definitely frustrating to lose like this, but good game is called, and Harstem will take game number 2, giving him a nice 2-0 lead in the series.
Yes, and I